Refusal for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's security is Donald Trump's revenge after couple's insults, writes Tom Leonard. Back in May 2016, Meghan Markle was yet to satisfy her prince when, as a star of the TV drama Suits, she appeared on an obscure late-night US talk show. The women's rights firebrand held forth on the awfulness of Donald Trump, then the Republican Party's presumptive nominee for the presidency. Not only was he divisive and misogynist, but he had made it easy to ascertain that you simply don't actually need that sort of world he's painting for us, she complained. Meghan, at the time living in Toronto while filming her TV series, warned that Mr. Trump's election would be so terrible that I might just stay in Canada and not come to the United States. Fateful words. Nearly 4 years later, she has been offered an equivalent choice, and it appears leapt at the prospect of fleeing over the border, albeit it meant quitting Liberal Canada under the benign administration of her friend Justin Trudeau. For all times, under the politician she most detests in LA, President Trump has already shown he inherited his Scottish-born mother Mary's adoration of the pomp and ceremony of the royalty, to not mention her love for the Queen, but he hasn't exactly unrolled the red carpet for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. In a tweet on Sunday, he put the kibosh on any hope that they will have had of the US footing the bill for his or her protection. I'm an excellent friend and admirer of the Queen, and therefore the UK, wrote Mr. Trump. It was reported that Harry and Meghan, who left the Dominion, would reside permanently in Canada. Now they left Canada for the US. However, the US won't buy their security protection. They need to pay. Although the Sussexes quickly put out a press release insisting that they had never intended to ask Washington for help and have their own privately funded security arrangements. Thank you. It left the impression that they had once more didn't do appear to have proper planning. The couple really shouldn't are surprised that the president should attempt to rain on their parade within Florida. After all, Meghan snubbed Mr. Trump when he came to the United Kingdom for a state visit, and a snub it had been. Whatever was said about her being excused royal duties as she was on maternity leave, although Prince Harry a minimum of deigned to satisfy the Donald, he appeared lukewarm. He missed a lavish state dinner at Buckingham Palace for the president, and earlier an equivalent day during a visit to the royal gallery. Witnesses said he noticeably hung back from standing and being photographed with Trump, chatting instead together with his daughter Ivanka at the time. Mr. Trump ignored their differences, although he made it clear he knew only too well that the Duchess had attacked him. She was nasty to me, he said in an interview, and that's okay for her to be nasty. It's not good on the behalf of me to be nasty to her, and that I wasn't. She's doing an honest job. I hope she enjoys her life. I feel she's very nice. It had been a generous, high-minded response, which anyone who knew anything about Trump didn't believe for a second was sincere. He's made no secret of where his sympathies lie when it involves Brexit. In an interview in January, he said the Queen had been hurt by the couple's sudden announcement, adding, I don't think this could be happening to her. Prince Harry, disciplined by years of royal caution about politics, has let slip little about what he thinks of Trump. Unfortunately for him, very unfortunately, given he was shortly to maneuver to the US, who disappointed his guard during a prank call from Russian hoaxers posing because the teenage global climate change activist Greta Thunberg and her father he laid into the president's environmental policy. The mere incontrovertible fact that Donald Trump is pushing the industry so big in America, he has blood on his hands. Mr. Trump now has their future in his hands. Not paying for the couple's protection could only be the beginning of his payback under U.S. law, because the spouse of an American citizen, Harry, doesn't have an automatic right to citizenship. He's probably not eligible to use for an A1 visa, the preserve of diplomats and officialdom. He would need to undergo the tedious process of securing a positive identification that provides the proper to measure permanently and add the US to do so. He would need to persuade officials who under the Trump administration have tightened the method considerably that he's a successful businessman with talents of use to the US, alternatively an alien of extraordinary ability. The method usually requires gushingly supportive letters from prominent people. However, the choice on who gets a positive identification remains notoriously arbitrary. Taxation could also be another area where US federal officials could, if they chose, put the couple through the ringer as they work towards being financially independent. Although it has been reported the couple moved to LA partially to avoid Meghan having to pay taxes in both the US and Canada, it'd still be complicated. Wherever they live, the US citizens face being taxed on their worldwide income by the country's tax income service. If Prince Harry also takes citizenship, the US taxmen are going to be ready to scrutinize every aspect of their financial affairs within the UK, including any contributions they received from Charles and other royal relatives. The president may yet give the Sussexes plenty more to complain about. Meghan Markle and Harry face their worst nightmare. Living in Los Angeles will pose a big problem for them. Settled in Los Angeles for 3 days when they are in confinement, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are preparing to officially leave the monarchy in 24 hours. And if they seem to find a way to pay for their security costs in California, there is another big problem. They may not have thought of it. They surprised the world this March 27 by leaving almost their residence in Vancouver, where they had settled for several weeks, and their design to leave the monarchy as of March 31 and move away from Buckingham. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry and their baby Archie flew in a private jet to California to get closer to Doria Ragland, the mother of the Duchess of Sussex, but also for tax reasons. If problems related to this move, especially during a period of confinement linked to the coronavirus, have naturally been brought to light, such as Prince Harry's visa and his request for a green card in order to be able to settle in the United States, or their enormous security costs that had already posed a problem for the Canadians and for which Donald Trump is determined not to spend a cent. The Sussexes have, however, found private funds to cover these costs. Another serious problem will arise soon for the future former royal couple. If Meghan and Harry were relatively safe from the British paparazzi, whom they didn't hesitate to attack when the latter published their stolen photos in the media, it is not the same in the United States, where American media have to date received no contraindication to using photos or videos of paparazzi, because in the country of the Uncle Sam, these methods, unscrupulous, are considered freedom of speech, expression and personalities. It is therefore much more difficult for the public to prosecute the media or alleged privacy breaches, rarely if ever pursued by the paparazzi. Then Meghan and Harry lived in the United Kingdom due to a long-standing agreement between the palace and publishers of publications after Diana's death. Things are likely to change from now on if the United States, the Sussexes are considered to be people, and like a Britney Spears in the great era paparazzi literally camped outside a home in the mid-2000s. The Sussex couple will therefore probably become the new target for the scoop race in the coming months. We may therefore see Meghan and Harry not always to their advantage in the front pages of the US newspapers, or else, for fear of being exposed against their will in the American tabloids, they will remain cloistered at home. Anyway, their hushed and hidden daily life will take a hit once the confinement is over.